Ocean Verdict, Episode Number 4, Long Form. Deepwater Horizon, the disaster that changed offshore drilling. In April 2010, an offshore drilling rig in the Gulf of Mexico became the center of the worst environmental disaster in United States history. This was the Deepwater Horizon. The Deepwater Horizon was not an oil platform. It was a mobile offshore drilling unit designed to drill exploratory wells in ultra-deep water. Built in South Korea and delivered in 2001, the rig was capable of operating in waters more than 8,000 feet deep. The rig was owned and operated by Transocean and leased by BP. Its job was not to produce oil, but to drill wells that could later be completed for production. By early 2010, the Deepwater Horizon was drilling the Macondo well, approximately 40 miles off the coast of Louisiana. The well extended nearly 18,000 feet below the seabed, making it one of the most technically complex offshore wells ever attempted at the time. At the time of the incident, the rig was not pumping oil. Drilling had been completed, and the crew was preparing to temporarily seal the well so it could be brought into production later. This phase, known as temporary abandonment, is one of the most critical and dangerous stages of drilling. It requires careful testing to ensure oil and gas cannot flow back up the well. On April 20, 2010, a series of pressure tests were performed. The results were unusual, but instead of stopping operations, the readings were misinterpreted as acceptable. Unknown to the crew, natural gas had entered the wellbore. It traveled rapidly upward, expanding as it rose. Within minutes, it reached the drilling rig. At 9:49 p.m., the gas ignited. A massive explosion tore through the rig. Fire engulfed the drilling floor. 11 workers were killed. Emergency systems attempted to respond. The blowout preventer, a massive safety device designed to seal the well in an emergency, failed to activate properly. Later investigations revealed that key components inside the device were damaged, miswired, or never fully functional. The last line of defense had failed. 2 days later, on April 22nd, the Deepwater Horizon sank. The well was left uncontrolled, nearly a mile beneath the ocean's surface. Oil began flowing freely into the Gulf of Mexico. At its peak, the well released approximately 60,000 barrels of crude oil daily. Stopping the leak proved far more difficult than anyone anticipated. Multiple containment attempts failed. Caps leaked. Top kill operations were unsuccessful. Engineers were forced to design solutions in real time under intense public and political pressure. Only after drilling relief wells and sealing the source deep below the seabed was the flow finally stopped. After 87 days, the well was sealed. By then, an estimated 4.9 million barrels of crude oil had been released into the ocean. The environmental impact was catastrophic. More than 1,300 miles of coastline were affected. Marine ecosystems, fisheries, and coastal communities suffered long-term damage. Investigations later concluded that the disaster was not caused by a single failure. It was the result of systemic breakdowns, cost pressures, poor risk management, miscommunication between companies. Critical warning signs were missed, safety systems were not properly tested, and key decisions prioritized speed over safety. The legal consequences were historic. BP faced criminal charges and agreed to pay more than $20 billion in fines, penalties, and settlements. Offshore drilling regulations were rewritten, oversight agencies were restructured, and industry safety standards were permanently changed. The Deepwater Horizon disaster became a defining moment in offshore energy history. It showed how complex systems, combined with human and corporate decisions, can fail with devastating consequences. 11 lives were lost, an ecosystem was altered, and the cost of cutting corners became unmistakably clear. This was Ocean Verdict, real maritime cases explained simply.